Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Clement and this is Traveling. That's what's up. Alright, so today I just want to talk about while I'm getting my steps. I was talking to a friend on TikTok and she's on her way back to America. And she had been posting, step by step as she's coming back. And our conversation was detailing that her anticipation coming back to America. And I was trying to explain to her that, she's going to be coming back to crazy land. Because, and I also told her don't turn on the news, because it'll have you going crazy here. Another friend of mine, I was telling him, since he's been back, I said, he's turning around like everyone else and going back. But I was letting him know, do it before sadness takes his hand. With all of the crazy stuff that's going on back, here in the States, it makes you crazy and depressed and sad for the country and sad for people. When you leave Asia and you come here, Southeast Asia rather, and you come back to the States, and you immediately feel the difference of how the energy is, the shift, the people, more butterflies. Look at this, guys. Every time I go out, I swear, these butterflies find me. But there's a lot of plants for butterflies here, though. But look at that monarch. I know that's random. I don't know, whatever. But anyway, the energy's different. The energy's off here. And you immediately feel it. I feel like another butterfly. Wow. And you immediately feel this right away because it seems like it's built to have you depressed. Like, that seems to be the focus. Make you feel down, or I don't know. I could be wrong, but I think people are starting to wake up to the idea that this dream that everybody had is not really a reality for a lot of people. For the many, maybe for the few, but not for the many. It gets, I guess, pretty wicked when you think about, wow, there's no end in sight. You're literally gonna work yourself to death, having to accept that. Golly, that's crazy. I mean, crazy. Because of things we think we need. I think that was one of the things about growing up when I was younger. We didn't have phones or well, we had pagers after a while, and we got phones eventually. But you just having to have an imagination, it created that lane for you to go explore and have fun. Alright guys, so if you like this content, please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification button so you'll be aware when I'm dropping new content. I'd appreciate it. We've gotten so used to having so many things that we don't know what it's like to be without. And that's what the difference is. When you become too comfortable, you become dangerous. Because you become, experimental. You're bored. So you want to try new things. And when that happens, you might step out of bounds. You know? You can always tell in Chicago when someone is important. They always have a police car parked by their house. Doesn't matter, all the time. That's one of the things you have in Chicago. This, the favoritism, politics. That's one of those Chicago things. Maybe it happens all over, but you definitely notice it in Chicago. But yeah. Got to figure it out. I hope you guys are getting your steps in too. Get your cardio up. Exercise. Take good care of yourself. It's hot out. I mean, it's cool, but I've been walking for a while, so it's pretty hot to me now. Man. Earlier it was threatening to rain, but now we're good. Let's turn you guys around. Oh, man. You know, here and back in the States, we have but it's like a tier system here with the segregation, how they have pockets and groups. And all this has been mapped out. This is all by design. They know where they want people, what people they want. All by design. You know, one of the things I think about being here is that when new people come from foreign countries, it aggravates me that they feel like because of the shade of their skin, they can be ugly. You know, they can behave nasty. Man, they're gonna do it to the wrong person. Somebody's gonna be having a bad day. And that's gonna be that. Be nice to people, guys. It's not worth it. It costs nothing to be nice. You know, maybe if we didn't depend on things as often to satisfy us, to quell us, to make us feel complete, probably it wouldn't be this way. But I don't know for sure. But I think we've become so used to having convenience, having pacifiers, things that, you know, gets us through. Instead of, like, you know, dealing with, I think, the core issue. And I'm no different from anyone else who doesn't want to take the easy route. But I think it's gotten us in trouble, rather. You know, we've taken the easy route so much that we forgot how to do things. And that's it, I think. You know, we forgot what it's like, you know, to imagine, to try, you know, because now all we do, push a couple of keys, make a couple of phone calls, somebody will pull up, or we'll check out and it'll be delivered. You know, the store can be around the corner. We will not walk to the store. We're blaming on safety, weather, whatever. But I think convenience got dizzy just now. Convenience breeds failure. And I think because you're not using all your strength, you're not using all your power, you're not requesting everything that you're capable of. Look at this, guys. We got a pear tree. So we got a pear tree here. I don't know what happened to my film here. And we got a peach tree. Let's see. Let me turn this off. All right, we're back. All right, so what I was saying, we got the peach tree and we got a pear tree. That's pretty cool. I like seeing that. Fruit trees. This looks like another fruit tree too. I don't know what kind it is. Looks like a cherry tree, honestly. Oh no, it's a pear tree as well. They just got the pears off. I don't see any pears on the ground though. I mean, not pears, but peaches. That's nice. But yeah. Like right now, a lot of the farmers are having issues because they don't know how to do things and they don't have people to do things. You know, the car industry, nobody's creating anything. All of our industries are in trouble because we've gotten rid of creativity. Nobody really knows how to do anything like they used to, unless you go out to the country. You go out to the country, you know, they don't have nothing but time. So they can learn all kinds of stuff, have all kinds of extracurricular activities, what have you, because they got time to do that sort of thing. You know? Unlike living in an urban environment in a city or something, you know, you got to go to work to maintain your facade. You know, and I think people who live in the city, who are just barely doing what they need to do, they're living in a facade. You know, they're living a lie. Because think about it. Who wants to go to work every single day, pay a mortgage every single day, expensive food every single day, never really get ahead? Who wants that? Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to just make it. Want to just survive. I mean, I'm sure there are people because of their situation and condition, but that's not what, you know, the dream is. The dream is to have more. So think about it. You know, you want to better yourself, you want to do better. At least that's what my thinking is, we want to do better. We want to see results. When you think about school for kids and tuition, you got these kids going to school for jobs that may not even be here because of AI, right? Because AI is probably going to take over most of the jobs, but the kids will still have the debt. And that's a big deal. Imagine going to school, accumulating all this debt, only to graduate and find out your job has been taken by AI. That's rough. Because the debt you still have. But you're only trained on that. But that field and that position has been taken by AI. I think that's going to spread. Because any job, any employer rather, they're always looking, for more ways to pay their investors, to grow their company. When I worked at Walgreens for all those years, 20 years plus or whatever, I always thought, man, I'm making a lot of money for this company, which I was. And they were paying me pennies. As opposed to what, a day's, because I used to do everything. So I would see how much money we pulled in. Just pharmacy alone. Back in the day when it was popping, it was booming. Before CVS came to town. So I think about that, because as AI learns and expands, it'll take over more jobs, it'll take over more everything. Everything will become more automated because, like I was saying, if you're an employer, why wouldn't you upgrade? Like, think about it. It's natural progression for them to use AI and because AI don't call off, it don't call in sick, it don't need time off. There's a lot of, if you have a business, there's a lot of benefits to having that setup. If you want to be efficient. And you figure if you're a business owner and you're having a position that could be filled by AI, why wouldn't you do it? Because, like I said, AI is not going to call off. It's not going to get sick. It's not going to need vacation days. It's not going to need any time off. So from an employer standpoint, it makes sense. And that's why it's going to continue to grow. Because you want to make more money and spend less. In any business, if spending's required, involved. So that's a big deal. That's a really big deal. Alright guys, this is pretty cool. They got little, let me show you this. They have little fire hydrants. I'm assuming to let the dogs have a spot to pee. That's what I'm thinking anyway. They got two of them. Let me show you this other one too. Over there. That's pretty cool. Alright. Let's get out of that. Yeah. So, when you think about it like that, it's different, So I kind of understand, but I also see the downside of it. You know, that squirrel. So I see a lot of people, and the government knows this because they get statistics. You know, they do surveys. They have their ways of getting information. You know, they know how to cross-reference things. So they know exactly what they're doing and who they're dealing with. So nothing's accidental. Everything's planned and refined and planned and refined. So this is going to happen because it's happening. So I think, this is my opinion, of course, we're on the decline, and we're going to have a big homeless issue. So I think because it's going to be manufactured, some of it's going to be because of it being previously manufactured before, and they're trying to get out ahead of it, you know. And then you got all this violence supposedly happening all over the country that they're not televising. You got to wonder why that's happening and not being televised. I think because Black Americans have started to sit out a lot of the protests and choose not to get involved because nothing ever happens of it. Basically, nothing comes of it. So now that they're choosing not to get involved, nobody really, you know, is concerned. Well, look at this tree. Look at that tree. Wait, hang on. I didn't mean to zoom in. But look at this tree. It's pretty amazing. It's nice. Big. Yeah. So, it's a big tree. Big old giant tree. This is a big tree too. But yeah. So now, you know, it's just, you know, it's the same old thing. Nothing ever happens from it. So now I think people are just like, whatever. They're in the whatever stage. Because there's never been any real credible results. My thoughts are that this is a road that we cannot continue down as a country because you have too many wannabes, you got too many hotheads, you got too many people who have built up aggression, then you have people who have false built up aggression, then you got people who got actual aggression, like they're just waiting on this. This won't be good for anyone. It might really come down to color, like what shade are you? And that's so wrong. So wrong on so many levels. But on the other side of that, you can't go around and wreak havoc and don't expect for the boomerang effect, because you know what they say, what goes around comes around. And it usually comes around when you least expect it, because it has no expiration date. You know, karma, I believe in karma. Karma's real. You know, if you don't want it happening to you, don't do it to someone else. Very simple rule. But you got people who are just evil. They're just really bad people. And that's the only way they know how to solve problems, is by creating them. So if there's something I want, in other words, and you're just too nice, I have to create a problem, an issue, because I want it all. And that's usually how it is. Just can't be nice and give some. They want it all. It wasn't about sharing. It was about taking and possessing. So, those conditions breed bad conditions. It's like larvae in water. It's like mosquito larvae in still water. You know, unattended to, wreak havoc. And I think that's what's happening right now. Simply because the refusal to acknowledge and correct things, and the path of destruction that has been left. On everyone. Calamity, destruction, famine, death, thievery, deception. The list can go on and on. Now, there are some people that say you got to take what you want. I get it. But you also have to accept the repercussions that come along with that. Because not everybody is going to go along with it. Some people are just going to sit back and let you think you won. Because they see something different. They see further down the road. I wonder if that's what China was doing. I don't know. One thing I will say is, if the system doesn't correct itself, it doesn't figure it out. If somebody in charge is not talking to AI, I mean, they got this powerful thing they're building. They need to talk to it and ask for a better solution. Figure out something else to humanity. How can you have such a device and don't know, you know, that this is not a good way to run the world? Well, not the world, but the United States. Let's say that. So, and I look at that and I think to myself, you know, this is gonna not turn out to be a good thing. I don't know how they got it all planned, but it's obviously something going on. I wonder what those are. Yeah. So things are up in the air right now. the U.S. got a few things to figure out. And it's got to do it quick. Or else it's going to destroy itself inside out. Because anger is going to get turned inward instead of outward. You know, people are going to start looking to solve their problems with whoever's close. I see that happening. I can see that in the future where, you know, people want to take their frustrations out on their neighbors. I mean, hell, we had that during the presidential campaign. So people would turn savage quick. Even during the pandemic, the outbreak, or whatever, COVID. You know, grandparents didn't want to see kids. Parents didn't want to see kids. Everybody was scared of one another. So it can happen easily. You know, since I've been back here, I feel like all they do is play social experiments. In America, it seems like a big social experiment. Like, 'cause some of this stuff don't seem like it's real, but it is. Seems like a social experiment. See how much can the human spirit can endure. How much stuff we can get you used to, get you numb. You know, because you watch enough TV, and you experience enough craziness, you might start buying into this stuff. That's why I always encourage people, get a passport. You know, go see something else, go do something else. Because I feel like the design here is actually meant to confuse you, make you crazy, make you unsure, and second guess yourself. Basically, I feel like things are meant to cloud your mind, to keep you so distracted, you know, that you don't know, you know, when it hits, you won't know. You know, you'll probably be posing or taking pictures or doing something. You'll be distracted, basically. And I think that's the game. Keep you distracted. All right. If you enjoy this content, please like, share, subscribe. Hit the notification button so you'll know when I'm dropping new content. It helps grow my channel and I'd appreciate it. Peace.